Most people break long before life truly tests them, not because life is too cruel, but because their minds are too soft. They let emotions lead their choices. They let opinions define who they are. They let fear make their decisions. And when pressure hits, they crumble. But Machiavelli understood something most people never will. He knew the strongest mind isn't the kindest. It's the one that's most controlled. He believed your mind is your throne, and if you don't rule it, someone else will. See, being mentally untouchable doesn't happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and stop caring what people think. You build that mindset brick by brick through discipline, detachment, and strategy. The world will always try to break you. It'll use rejection, betrayal, and failure to test your strength. And most people, they'll fall apart. But you're not most people. You're here because you're done letting emotions control your reality. You're here because you want mastery over your reactions, your focus, your peace. Like a king who rules his kingdom silently but completely. So before we begin, ask yourself this. Do you control your mind, or does the world control it for you? Because that answer decides your destiny. If the world owns your emotions, you'll always be its victim. But if you master your mind, you become untouchable. Untouchable by failure, untouchable by betrayal, untouchable by chaos. Every challenge, every insult, every setback only sharpens you. From this moment on, think like Machiavelli. Detach from emotion. Observe human nature. Use discipline as your armor and silence as your weapon. Because once you rule your mind, no one can ever touch your peace again. Now, before we dive into the 7 ruthless lessons, say it with me and drop it in the comments. From today, I choose strength over emotion. Lesson 1, control the narrative, because power begins in perception. The way people see you shapes how they treat you, trust you, and fear you. Machiavelli understood something most never will. The world isn't ruled by truth. It's ruled by appearance. People don't see your intentions. They see your presentation. They don't study your thoughts. They react to your image. In a society obsessed with perception, the one who controls the narrative controls reality itself. You can be wise, skilled, even powerful. But if you let others define your story, you've already handed them your crown before the battle even begins. The most dangerous mistake you can make is believing that truth alone will protect you. It won't. Truth is often quiet, subtle, ignored. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge by the eye rather than the hand, because everyone can see, but few can touch." Meaning, the world reacts to what it sees, not what is. People judge your worth before you ever speak. They read your strength in your posture, your tone, your calmness, your mystery. If you look uncertain, the world will eat you alive. But if you look composed, they'll think twice before testing you. To become mentally untouchable, you must become the author of your own image. You must shape how others interpret your silence, your actions, and even your mistakes. Never over-explain. The moment you start defending yourself, you've already surrendered your authority, because calm silence speaks louder than desperate words. Let them assume. Let them wonder. Let them guess. The less they know, the more power you hold. Every room you walk into is an invisible battlefield of perception. The loud chase attention. The wise chase control. When you enter, you don't need to announce who you are. Let your presence say it for you. Confidence is felt long before it's understood. Authority is sensed long before it's spoken. Every gesture, every pause, every look sends a message. I am in command. You don't need validation. You need precision. Understand this. When you control perception, you bend reality. A person who appears unbothered is seen as strong. A person who looks desperate is seen as weak. You can face chaos and still look calm, and that illusion alone will protect you more than 1,000 explanations ever could. That's the psychology of influence. The mind believes what the eyes repeat. If the world keeps seeing you composed, confident, and strategic, it will treat you that way, even while you're still learning to master yourself. Machiavelli believed reputation is the foundation of all power. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you truly are." Never forget that. Appear strong, even when uncertain. Appear steady, even when under pressure. Control your tone, your gaze, your words, and your energy. Let your silence be louder than their noise. When they label you, don't react. Rewrite the label through your results. When they underestimate you, prove them wrong quietly. And when they question you, answer with calm, unshakable confidence. Because the moment you master perception, you stop chasing power and start becoming it. Control is not about manipulation. It's about direction. It's about deciding how your energy and your image are perceived in a chaotic world. Once you master this, you stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. You stop living by how others define you and begin defining yourself, because the one who owns his story owns his destiny. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my image. Number 2, detach from emotion. Emotion is the easiest weapon the world uses to control you. The moment someone can trigger your anger, your sadness, or your fear, they own you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He noticed that people who react emotionally are predictable, and predictable minds are easy to manipulate. Detachment isn't coldness, it's strength in disguise. It's the power to observe chaos without letting it enter your mind. When you detach, you stop wasting energy on things unworthy of your focus. You stop reacting to every insult, every disappointment, every false expectation. You begin responding with control instead of emotion. And in that moment, you become dangerous. Most people take pride in being real, believing emotional expression is strength, but uncontrolled emotion is vulnerability, disguised as honesty. When you react too quickly, you expose your triggers. You show people exactly where you can be attacked. And trust me, they notice. Even subconsciously, they'll press those same buttons to control you. That's how manipulation works. Not through power, but through emotional access. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." He meant that wisdom lies in control, in responding only when it serves your purpose. The fool reacts instantly. The wise stays still until it's time to strike. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by feelings. You can feel pain without drowning in it. You can acknowledge betrayal without letting it destroy your peace. The secret is simple. You are not your emotions. You are the one watching them. Every emotion is like a passing storm. Loud, wild, temporary. Don't chase the thunder. Stand still and watch it pass. That stillness is power. It's what Machiavelli called the strength of command, the ability to stay calm while everyone else collapses under pressure. People will fear that calmness because they can't read it. And what can't be read can't be controlled. Imagine this. Two people face the same insult. One explodes, loses control of his words, his image, his presence. The other looks straight at the offender and simply smiles. The second man wins without saying a word. He didn't react. He redirected. He didn't fight. He observed. That is psychological mastery. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about owning it. You control what leaves your mind. You choose when to respond, and you decide when to move and when to wait. That level of control separates the rulers from the ruled. Machiavelli advised leaders to appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious, and to be those things, but with a mind so strong that when it becomes necessary not to be so, you can instantly shift. That means you must know how to detach from your emotions, especially when they threaten your strategy. If your emotions serve your purpose, use them. If they weaken your position, silence them. Emotion must serve you, not enslave you. Detachment also protects your peace, because once you stop reacting to everything, life becomes quieter. You stop wasting energy trying to prove yourself. You stop explaining to people who will never understand. You stop expecting fairness in a world built on power. Emotional distance gives you clarity. You begin seeing patterns, not problems. You stop taking things personally and start using them as information. That's when you start winning silently. When you master emotional detachment, you stop being a slave to chaos. No insult, no betrayal, no failure can truly touch you. You might bend, but you never break. You move through life with stillness, not fear, because no one can shake a mind that refuses to react. Now drop this affirmation in the comments. I feel, but I do not fall. Number 3, expect betrayal. Trust strategy. Betrayal is not an exception in life. It's a pattern. The sooner you understand that loyalty is temporary, the faster you'll stop being shocked when people turn against you. Machiavelli warned that loyalty lasts only as long as it serves a person's interest. When that interest ends, so does their devotion. To survive in a world built on self-interest, you must replace emotional trust with strategic awareness. The wise don't depend on promises. They build systems that protect them when those promises break. Most people suffer because they expect consistency in a world driven by convenience. They think loyalty is sacred, but in truth, loyalty is conditional. Expecting betrayal doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." He meant that people will shift their loyalty whenever it benefits them. And you must never take that personally. Betrayal isn't always evil. Sometimes it's just human nature revealing itself. When you understand that, you stop reacting with anger and start responding with clarity. You no longer see betrayal as tragedy. You see it as information. It shows you who values advantage over integrity, who pretends out of need, and who will abandon you the moment the wind changes direction. The most strategic minds don't rely on loyalty. They rely on structure. They don't tie their survival to people. They tie it to systems. When you trust emotion, you become dependent. When you trust design, you become independent. Always have a plan that functions even if everyone turns their back on you. Always position yourself so that no single person holds the power to destroy your peace or your progress. That's not cold. That's intelligent. Detachment from blind trust doesn't kill connection. It refines it. You start valuing actions over words and patterns over promises. When you expect betrayal, you stop over-investing in illusions. You see through flattery. You notice inconsistencies. You learn to read intentions before they reach your heart. Machiavelli believed that foresight is the greatest form of power. A leader who predicts deception before it happens never loses control. He wrote, "The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing, in great crisis, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live." This isn't pessimism, it's realism. You learn to care selectively. You learn to protect your energy from unworthy causes and unstable allies. Most people aren't destroyed because they're betrayed. They're destroyed because they refuse to believe betrayal could happen. They live in denial until the knife is already in their back. The Machiavellian mindset removes that illusion. It accepts human inconsistency as a fact and prepares accordingly. You don't build walls around your heart. You build gates. Gates that open only for those who've proven their loyalty through time and adversity. And even then, you never forget that anyone can change. That's not cynicism. That's power. It means you're alert but not bitter, cautious but not cold, aware but never weak. When you expect betrayal, you stop fearing it. You become mentally untouchable because nothing surprises you anymore. Your strategy becomes your shield. Your clarity becomes your armor. You no longer chase loyalty. You command respect through calmness and preparation. Because the one who anticipates betrayal never kneels to it. Now drop this affirmation in the comments. I trust strategy, not sympathy. Number 4, appear calm. Think cold. In a chaotic world, calmness is the most intimidating form of strength. Most people mistake composure for softness. But Machiavelli saw calmness as a weapon, a form of psychological warfare. When you appear composed while others panic, you project power without uttering a single word. The calm mind sees what the restless never notice. The cold thinker detects patterns hidden beneath emotion. When you can remain serene in the middle of chaos, people begin to fear your control. They sense that nothing can shake you, and that mystery becomes dominance. Machiavelli once wrote, "A prince must learn how not to be good." He didn't mean cruelty, he meant emotional discipline, the ability to detach from kindness when it weakens authority. Being good is easy, but staying calm when everything burns around you, that's divine. When people expect you to break and you don't, their illusion of power over you collapses. Calmness terrifies the unstable. It makes the impulsive hesitate. They can't understand why you don't react, why you don't argue, why you don't crumble. That silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their chaos. Your stillness exposes their lack of control. The world respects the one who remains centered under pressure because it's rare. Most minds are slaves to reaction. They speak too quickly, decide too soon, and lose everything to emotion. The cold strategist pauses. He studies, and he moves, only when precision demands it. Patience is not weakness, it's control over time. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. That balance requires a calm surface and a calculating mind beneath it. You must appear tranquil like water, yet sharp as ice below the surface. People should see no trace of your inner process. Never reveal tension, doubt, or fear. Let them wonder if you even feel it, because the less they know about your emotional state, the more unpredictable you become. And unpredictability is power. It forces others to play on your terms. To appear calm, you must first train your inner voice. Every irritation, every insult, every unexpected problem must be met with a single question. Does reacting help me win? If the answer is no, you remain silent. And that silence unsettles people more than anger ever could. A calm reaction ends arguments faster than aggression ever will. The cold mind doesn't chase victory through words. It wins through energy. Even when surrounded by hostility, keep your tone slow, your eyes steady, your gestures minimal. Confidence is communicated through stillness, not noise. This lesson isn't about hiding emotion, it's about mastering its display. You must control the theater of your presence. What people see should always serve your advantage. Appear rational when others are irrational. Smile when they expect rage. Walk slowly when they rush. Show that you are never moved unless you choose to be. Over time, that aura becomes armor. No one knows your breaking point because you never reveal it. The quiet man is never ignored. He's studied, analyzed, and whispered about. The world always underestimates those who speak little until they act. And by the time they do, it's already too late to stop them. Words are cheap. Everyone uses them to seek validation. But power doesn't explain itself. When you justify your choices, you hand others the authority to judge them. When you argue, you admit that someone else's opinion matters. Silence destroys that illusion. It sends a clear message. You don't owe anyone understanding. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." He meant that even restraint carries risk, but silence is a calculated risk. It may invite misunderstanding, but it also commands fear. People don't fear what they can predict. They fear what they can't interpret. The quiet individual, who listens more than he speaks, becomes the most dangerous presence in any room because everyone wonders, what is he thinking? What is he planning? To master silence, you must first overcome the urge to prove yourself. Every second you hold your tongue, they reveal a little more of their strategy. Machiavelli's philosophy thrived on observation. The silent observer sees everything the loud forget to notice. You can read micro-expressions, tone shifts, inconsistencies, details hidden from those too busy talking. Silence is not the absence of power, it's its concentration. Like a blade sheathed but ready, it holds energy without wasting it. Never underestimate how silence shifts perception. A person who speaks rarely is assumed to think deeply. Their words carry weight because they are scarce. You don't have to be the smartest in the room, just the one who doesn't need to speak. That alone separates you from the impulsive and the insecure. Over time, silence becomes your identity. It makes you unpredictable, respected, and feared all at once. When you finally decide to speak, your voice cuts through the air like a weapon, used with precision, not habit. Power isn't loud, it's measured. The strongest presence doesn't need noise to be noticed. It needs composure, observation, and patience. Keep your plans hidden. Keep your feelings unreadable. Keep your words minimal. When people can't decode you, they can't defeat you. Silence keeps you untouchable, untamed, and always one step ahead of every mind trying to control yours. Now drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks power.